Welcome back to episode 182 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy, coming to you from Chateau Gongshow here in the beautiful Toronto, Canada for the Spring Sport Card Expo. What's going on, Troy?
Not a whole lot. I'm loving our makeshift setup at this house. I don't know where you are. It's a pretty big house. I'm echoing, and if you hear me echoing, I'm in the basement. So it's all good. You see, like, there's a kitchen behind me, which is kind of fun. And I'm trying to make sure the light is not a halo above me. Like Josh has got the halo behind him, but that's cool. Mine was kind of in a weird spot. But, oh, man, what a weekend.
I'm coming from the pearly gates of heaven, Troy.
Yeah, it looks like it.
This is what you're going to see when your day comes. It's going to be me saying, welcome, Troy. And I'll be doing our podcast intro, and you'll be confused. But that is just what will happen.
Fantastic.
This is our biannual, right? We do this twice a year. It's our Expo recap show. We spent the last few days at the Spring 2024 Toronto Sport Card Expo.
Yep.
Our hearts are full. What is it? Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose, right?
Yep.
I would say that's how it goes, except when we're opening up boxes of hockey cards, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's the two shows a year that we do sort of free form, right? We usually do some preparation for this show, but kind of what we like to do as we recap our adventures at the expo is just kind of react to really the week and what has struck us and our observations from the hobby and good times and people that we've met. But we can't, before we get into the expo, we have to talk about episode 182. The last episode was 180. Sorry, there's no episode 181. It is the lost episode.
We lost it. It's gone forever to the nether. But good thing is we can reuse some of the content that we talked about. Some of it's still relevant. I'm gonna do a 3-for-1 episode next time on the almost greatest player, because I did Phil Kessel on the lost episode, and we have to do Phil Kessel, and then I need 82, and then we're gonna be on 83. So again, I'll make them short, except for Phil Kessel because I love it so much. But yeah, the lost episode is just out in the nether. It was bad audio. We tried. Josh tried, gave it a yeoman's effort. It didn't work out.
Yeah. So we're going to tell the story real quick of what happened, right? Because in 180 shows, we'd never missed one.
Yeah.
Now we've done 2 shows a week. I want to say for the first maybe 4 months, 6 months, we were a once a week kind of a gong show, and then we moved to twice a week, and ever since then we've never missed a show. Now you've been on vacation, I've been on vacation, we've done it sick. We've both had COVID, I think, doing this show, haven't we?
I don't think I never had COVID or got diagnosed positive, but man, I had something that one time.
Oh, I'm sure. I think I did the show twice with COVID. So, Rain, we're like the mailman of the Hockey Cards podcast, right?
Yeah.
Rain, sleet, or snow, we do the Gong Show. And so it's kind of a point of pride, I'll be honest. And what really frustrates me about what happened to the lost episode 181, is it's not like it was sort of, we had a plan, but it's a plan that we've done multiple times in the past. So kind of how it works is Troy flies because, he's Mr. Big Time and, he's got to fly his PJ, as the kids like to call it, into Toronto while I'm the pack mule for all the Gong Show stuff and I drive. And typically how we've done it is we'll drive from the Twin Cities to Windsor, Canada, which takes, I want to say like 11, 12 hours. We'll leave really early in the morning, which we did on Wednesday morning. You get into Windsor. We got there maybe like 4 p.m., get everything set up, have a nice dinner. And then what we'll typically do is record our episode that evening, edit it, post it, so that Thursday, day 1 of the Sport Card Expo, there's the new Gong Show episode there.
Yep.
And we had done all of our work. We kind of had to cram everything in because you have all the travel in there. And so it was a whole thing, right, to get this episode going. So everything's going according to plan. Get set up and go to record. And right away, I could tell that I think I had to download like a graphic or something like that. And it took a really long time.
Yeah. And it's a hotel you stayed at before, and it's worked.
It's the same hotel.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. And we've recorded the episode just fine. And I was like, oh, I'm so worried. But I'm like, it's worked here before. come on, it's 2024, right? They've got at least decent enough internet to use an online streaming platform. This will work fine. We will be okay. And if you recall, Troy, because you were there, I was there.
Yep.
Luke, who drove with me from the Twin Cities to come to his first expo, which I'll talk about in a minute too. He was there. One of the first things I said when we recorded that episode is, if anyone is listening to this episode tomorrow or watching it, it will be a miracle. And how prophetic was I
Yeah.
at that point? So we recorded the episode, and I kinda knew something was weird while the whole thing was going on, Troy, because it was like either you had totally lost interest in the show, you no longer like me because it's like I'm like trying to talk and have conversations and say how we're going through our kind of normal spiel. We're updating the road to infinity, like
Yeah.
we do on our show, and you're just like, uh huh, yeah, weird like timing.
Yeah.
It's like you're reading a book and then remembering to say, oh yeah, uh huh, every now and again, and so like the whole kind of vibe felt kind of off too while we were doing it, and then lo and behold, we stopped recording, and what do you inform me about what I sounded like to you on the other end?
Yeah, so what I was hearing was basically, "Oh, I got Bedard, hockey." Like it was like 4 words of garbled and then 1 word of clarity. And we've had that happen before. It's actually happened like that before. But then when we got to the audio, we downloaded it and then listened to it. It was fine, crystal clear. So I thought it was just on my end. I was having bad reception and still everything was fine. Now, once we listened to the show, or Josh started listening to it to edit the audio file, it was over. It was like just a garbled mess.
Yeah, this whole time I'm thinking, well, if for some reason because the internet was so slow or the video didn't record well enough, at least we'd be able to post an audio show and just be
Mhm.
like, well, sorry guys, the video didn't work today, but hey, we'll try, we'll do better next time. So we finished recording the episode, we download it, and then we have an editing software and it get in there. And the first like few minutes were actually okay. Like I didn't realize at first that there was problems. And so, but you kind of have to listen to the episode because we kind of take out, believe it or not, there are imperfections when we record these. We take out some of the pauses when Troy like, starts crying and screaming at me. We usually
Po-
edit those out.
Ponder my
And
existence, what I'm doing. Yeah.
yeah. And then we when we get to like the 10-minute mark, like you literally it was uh inaudible. Is that the way to say it?
Yeah.
Right, where you could not hear, like, you had to strain so hard just to make
Yep.
out what I was saying, and I'm just like, "Oh, my heart sank." I'm like, "This is not good." So then I start researching, I'm looking up, like, well, there's gotta be, like, a way to fix this. Like, is there anything you can do in our editing program? No. My sister had told me at one point about this, like, AI robot, magical sort of audio fixing software. And so then I
By
had to text
Adobe,
her like,
right? By
yeah, it
Adobe.
was by
Yeah.
Adobe, like, it's called, like, Audio but I didn't know that, so I had to text her, and
Yeah.
she told me which one it was. Of course, it costs money, but I'm like, "I don't care." I subscribe and upload. Now, mind you, too, the this is like 19, I don't know, 99 upload and download speed, so I had to figure out a way to download the audio, which took forever, then upload it to this editing software, and it kept failing,
Yeah.
and finally got subscribed, finally got uploaded. It didn't work. And so we started, what did we record? Maybe like 8 o'clock we started. And by 2 in the morning, I just threw
Yeah.
my hands up
Yep.
and gave up. And I was mad. I was really mad. Poor Louis was such a trooper. He was trying to help
Yeah.
and just looking at me. And so then you're in Toronto
Yep.
already. We get up the next morning. There's no new episode. Didn't sleep much, was kind of tired and a little bit cranky and just really bummed out, to be honest with you, that it didn't work out. And like I said, in the grand scheme of life, is it a big deal? No. Do things
Yeah.
like this happen? Yeah. But when you have 180 in a row that you kind of hit every one and you do all the work to get to 181. It was a little kick in the pants, I guess. And I was actually a little crabby when we got here, but was able to turn it around quickly. So there you go.
That's the
That
story.
is the story of episode 181, the lost episode. You know what I was thinking too? I think at some point, because the audio is good enough, I'll probably go, Troy, and clip the part where I say, where I kind of predicted
Yeah.
that this is never going to work out. Like I said, if anyone hears it or sees it, it'll be a miracle. The good news, though, where we're at right now has like the most like fast blazing internet I've ever
Yep.
seen in my entire life. And it should be, because apparently I'm in heaven, if you can see me at the pearly gates behind the aura of the afterlife behind me. But no, we are at Chateau Gongshow for the 2024 Spring Sport Card Expo. It's still going on. We
Yep.
kind of bailed a few minutes early today. We're pretty tired. We'll get into why, but it's been a lot of fun, a lot of late nights. And yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. So maybe, Troy, let's start like by explaining like where we are. So we've been doing our show for 2 years now. Troy and me, we had two hobby friends when we started the Gong Show, each other. Back 2 years ago. And one of the great blessings of our show, and one of the great blessings of the hobby, if you kind of put yourself out there, I think, is that you will meet wonderful and fantastic people. And so now that it's been a couple years, and you and I are, I think, a little more on the cautious side, Troy, when it comes to meeting people. And so it's taken a couple years for us to get around, but we've had some guys who almost, like Neil, our good buddy Irish Flyers collector, almost, he was the first person that reached out to us. Almost,
I think so.
One of the
One of the
first people that
first
reached
early
out to
ones.
us.
He's like, "Hey, I found this random show, and hey guys."
These really two cute guys that I just love to listen to butcher French names endlessly. So anyways, we thought, well, it might be fun to maybe find a house for a few guys to stay in. And we ended up finding what's turned out to be a beautiful place. And it's not like a mansion, but it's a pretty big house.
Yeah.
It's 7 bedrooms, 8 bedrooms, something like that. And we have kind of a crew that stayed here. It's called Chateau Gongshow, just for the weekend. And I think one of the things maybe a good place to start is that it's really, in my mind, Troy, enhanced our experience and really reinforced how much of the joy, the cards are awesome. We all like getting cool new cards. We all like going to shows like the Sport Card Expo, being able to look at some of the most amazing cards you'll ever see. But honestly, it's the people that make this experience amazing. Wouldn't you agree?
Agree 100%. Plus, being at the show and having the chateau, you call it, and all of us going to the show and then coming back has been really awesome. Plus, when you're at the show, you can like use them to kind of help you when you're looking at cards or bounce ideas off of. And then when we come back and we decide we're going to rip all these boxes that we bought, it's really cool to have whatever 8 to 12 guys hanging around and watching you rip, and everyone's ripping. And we've had a couple fun nights ripping wax.
I feel like we're 20 again for a few nights, and it is kind of like, now my body feels like I'm 80. So that's the flip side of getting a little bit older. But yeah, it's just been a great home base. And two, if you're looking for maybe a little pro tip in how to save a little scratch to maybe pick up another card or two, it is, I would say, significantly less expensive than staying in a hotel. So we're in Brampton, which is about 15 minutes away. That's the trade-off, right? Is that if you want to have that 10-minute walk or 2-minute Uber to the International Center when you come to the expo, the hotel is going to be the way to go. But I think, what did we figure out? That for an 8 or so bedroom house, that it was about half of what one of our hotel rooms would have cost for the weekend.
Yep.
Something like that. And then you get kind of the camaraderie and friendship of everyone there. So when we came on Thursday, first thing we did is check into Chateau Gongshow, checked it all out. Everything was copacetic. And then there was the preview night. of the
Yeah.
show. So that's from 4 to 8. Kind of the idea is I think you might have had like a VIP pass or a Thursday pass. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Do you know?
I do not. I can probably look it up while you're talking.
Okay. And the idea is that it gives you kind of the main thing is a first look at the cards.
Yeah.
Right now, what we've learned from talking to dealers is that that's like the official preview, but I think a lot of like the big time wheeling and dealing happens during dealer setup, and that's like dealer, dealer on dealer buying and selling and trading, where and it's kind of a natural thing, right? As you're kind of setting up your own booth, you're gonna poke your head over to the guy or gal next to you
Mm-hmm.
or walk around a little bit. I think a lot of deals get done that way. Now, if you're also a person like me to a little extent, but I think more to you, Troy, and you don't love crowds, that's another
Mm-hmm.
big bonus for Thursday night as well, isn't it?
Yes, Thursday, definitely the least amount of people, which makes sense. And to get into the Sports Card Expo on Thursday, I looked it up. You needed a VIP. There's 3 different levels of VIP packages: gold, silver, bronze. And I think all 3 included the Thursday night experience. But yes, definitely easy to move around. There's not going to be crazy crowds. It was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. And actually bought a lot of cards. Me and Louie were kind of hunting for the same thing. North
Yeah.
Stars wild stuff. So we kind of just went off on our own and just were diving through boxes. And I got a ton of cards just on Thursday.
And if I recall too, in fall, you didn't make it to Thursday, did you? You came
No,
on, yeah, you
I
came
came
on
Friday.
Friday.
Yep.
So you had missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thursday night is like made for you, Troy. That's like
Yep.
the Troy time for sure.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. It feels like we've been here a month. My body feels like we've been here 10 years. I haven't slept at all in like 3 days. I went from like heave crying and angry that our episode was lost and no sleep there to, and honestly, too, I'm kind of apologizing in advance if I don't make much sense on this show. But I've had so much fun here that I haven't wanted to go to bed at night. Like I'm staying up
Yeah.
till 3 in the morning and we've had to get up at like 7 and you do back to back to back days of that, and dude, I'm feeling it right now. I think I'm gonna have to sleep for a week when we get home.
It's kind of funny because I would be the opposite of you right now. I've went to bed kind of early, got my sleep, but in real life, like during the week, I'm the one that stays up till 3 a.m. doing whatever research or work or whatever, watching YouTube, Netflix, and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. We got a change of dynamic right now. I feel great.
Yeah. I know you do. Yeah, the little like behind the curtain is you're the guy that is like writing the show at like 2 in the morning on a Wednesday or
Yeah.
well, not Wednesday, on a Tuesday night
Yeah.
when we're typically working on it. So I don't think I bought any cards on Thursday night. I should mention too, Troy and I have made the executive decision that we're going to share all of our show
Yeah.
personal pickups on Thursday's Gong Show. That way we can take like photos and talk more about them. I'm not even sure where they are, frankly, around
I
the
have
sales.
look. I was going to do something. I'm going to do something. So
Okay.
keep talking, and then I'm going to do something.
Well, now you have my attention. Now I'm excited, and all the anticipation is building.
Well, I was going to say this pile. So I'm showing it on the screen. I believe there it would be. It's like this pile right here is that was my Thursday pile. So
That's
how
You've
that's
been
how many I
separated
got
by
on.
that.
Yeah, so that's how many I got on Thursday. So I did buy a lot, and even just this whole stack. This is so my Expo pickups is that.
Dang, dude.
But some are when like we were doing rips, and listen, when you're ripping with a group of guys, there's people that like the Ottawa Senators or people there, and there's us who like the Wild. And if we get cards that are Senator cards, and I don't care if they're even halfway good, we're giving it to the person who's the collector of those cards. So I some of these are from that too.
Yeah, so for the last like 2 months when we get to personal pickups and Josh is like, oh, I just talked about myself in the third person.
Oh, you did it. You're done.
It happened.
Fail.
Okay. When I am like,
yep.
Hey, Troy, you got any personal pickups? And you're like, Northland, war chesting. You came through, buddy.
I did. I did.
It happened. It happened. I think I just bought wax Thursday night. And so I don't know if this will be a tradition. It's kind of worked out that way.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of the guys here at Chateau Gongshow bought a bunch of boxes. We kind of came back after the show, sat around the big kitchen island thing
Yep.
that they have here, and we've just been opening boxes galore. How many boxes have been opened in the first
I
2
bet
nights so far?
20, I bet.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
it's,
more than that.
yeah.
We've gotten me and you have done so bad.
Yep. Terrible.
You have done so bad that this is a first I've ever. I'm a little scared, but you're a little bit out on the whole wax.
Yeah, I was my last night ripping wax, and I ripped some hockey. I had Parker's Champions, but then I did some Marvel, and I bought some Marvel boxes because I found them super cheap, like ridiculously cheap, like shouldn't be this cheap, but people are trying to move them, and I got nothing out of 5 boxes, like zip. So that was sad, but
It was like a bad, but in the gambling world, you in the casino, they'd call that a bad beat, right?
Yeah.
Where you just basically get your butt handed to you.
But like we said, follow our advice. That's the game. Wax usually you don't hit a lot unless you're our friend California Dave, who or Phil. They pulled some great stuff. It was awesome.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, our buddy Dave, his nephew. It was fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal for us, but there's some I would say big time hits here.
Yes.
And I've kind of, I have to come up with a little stupid name for everything. So I've been calling it the DGen Olympics. And I think there'll be a little bit of that going on tonight. So it's a little bit tame the first night. Then last night, you're right. There's a lot of wax that was ripped here. And I opened up 4 hobby boxes. I don't think I got more than a $5 card.
Yeah.
And you opened up, you what, 7?
I opened 2 Parker's Champions, some other stuff, some like 5 Marvels, and nothing. I mean, $50 in cards total, maybe.
But there's some big cards last night. So if you go, Phil, the Loud Collector, if you go to his Instagram, the first big hit last night was out of 2022 Allure, which there's some really good prices. Phil and I each got a box for 80 Canadian. So that was like 55 American.
Yeah, it's silly.
Like that.
It's very, very low American.
Cheap. Well, he ends up pulling not the biggest player in the world, but a Kyle Connor Golden Treasures 101 from 2022. So a veteran kind of base card, but a Golden Treasures. I mean, that's crazy. Most people go their whole lives and never pull a Golden Treasure card. So that kind of kicked it off for us. Then a gentleman named Chandler, who's been staying at our house as well, he had opened up a number of boxes, like a platinum box. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, he was hunting for Jack Hughes Young Guns and opened up some 2019 retail. But then he ended his night with Stature.
Yes.
And what year was it again, Troy? I forget. The purple box, right?
Yes, it was a purple box. So was that 22?
Yeah, either 21 or 22 Stature. And so he's going through it. He's kind of doing
21,
slow
21, 22.
And we noticed right away when we opened the pack that there was like a thick card in there. And he's like, I think I have a patch. And we're like, oh, man. So he just kind of like the slow, like you do, like the slow reveal. And sure enough, is out of 7, Connie McDavid. Ever heard of her? Patch auto with I think it's a 3-color patch, right?
Yep. I thought, I think it was. It's definitely 2. I think it was 3.
Maybe like a sliver of a 3.
Yeah.
But a very nice, kind of interesting patch, right?
Yeah.
Autographed out of 7. Beautiful auto, on card auto, game used patch. And the best part about it is Chandler lost his mind.
It was awesome.
He was like a 7-year-old like running around and screaming, and it was like the greatest thing ever.
Well, remember, Chandler's young anyways. He's a young guy.
Yeah, he's like in his like 20s-ish guy, so he's not old and jaded like we are. So that was amazing, right? We've had now a Golden Treasures 101, and then a few minutes later, we get a McDavid out of 7. Game used patch auto with an on-card auto at a Stature. The card was in great shape too. It's like, and before that too, remember I said to you, I was like, there's so much wax. I hope that somebody gets at least one good card. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like, all right, the night's gone pretty well. And then I think like California Dave was next. He opened up a box of Ultimate, and I think his last card, the box wasn't going great,
Nope.
and then boom, you got an Oli Lefts auto, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux,
Yep.
and he went bananas, and it was awesome. He had, I don't think he has had a Lemieux auto, so
No, I think it was his first one. He said.
perfect. So how does it get any better now, right? We've had 3 huge cards
Yeah.
being pulled. And then finally, our good buddy Phil, the Loud Collector, for the first time, is opening up Parker's Champions. And Phil he's, I love him because there's nothing that can change his mind when it comes to like what he likes or does
Yeah.
not like in the hobby. He's a big fan of the Parker's Champions, with the exception of the card that most everyone loves about Parker's Champions,
Yes.
the minis. It's like
Yeah.
he wants the base cards and is literally giving away them. He had a rookie auto on a mini and couldn't care less. I just wanted to give it away to people, which is just hilarious. But he's a man who knows exactly what he
Yes.
likes and what he
Yep.
wants. So he opens up was it a second box or first box?
I think it was the second.
I do too. And he pulls, aside from the Gretzky mini auto, I think he got the product hit.
Yeah.
It has to be, right? He got the legend Wayne Gretzky black parallel out of 10. Now, okay, technically you might be able to argue that because there are printing plate 101s, I would think most people would rather have the black parallel out of 10 than the printing plate, wouldn't you?
I would, because I'm not a printing plate person at all. But once you see this card, it is gorgeous. Man, it is gorgeous.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I can't believe that those cards were hit. And it definitely eased the pain of us me getting completely, we just lit like
Skunked.
funny money on fire last night. That's
Yes.
basically what we did. But I think too that maybe where we should transition to is kind of now getting into observations, hobby
Yes.
observations of the show, is the talk on wax prices.
Yes.
Because while we did find some good deals, I don't think that the wax prices were as good as we have typically seen over the past 3 or 4 episodes, or 3 or 4 times here at the expo.
Agreed.
Do you agree
You
or disagree
had
with
to. I agree with that. We really, really had to hunt on. Like there was one table that had the cheapest Parker's Champions. Like when we had to hunt for it, we found it. And it was a diamond deal and everything, so we got our redemptions. And then you guys were finding ice, or looking for 21, 22 ice that had the dual rookie class and the extra pack,
Yes.
right? It had the extra
Yeah.
pack in it. And we found one table that had a really good price, but then after you guys bought it, that was it. They went up in price there. And then I'm trying to think, the Marvel stuff I found, it was actually, there's probably a reason it was so cheap, because after I opened those boxes. But yeah, you really had to hunt. And the big thing was, and maybe you're going to get to this, Series 2, right? The
Yeah, get
Bedard
into
Young
it.
Guns here. Pricing, I don't think I saw anyone buy it. I mean, obviously, I can't see everything, but I didn't see people carrying it. I didn't see
Nope.
anyone buying boxes of it, but the
Nope.
pricing did not move. It was around 400 Canadian to a T at almost every table, and it didn't move at all during the show. Unless now it might move tomorrow, I don't know, or tonight. Maybe people are going to start to, if they want to get rid of it. But man, no one moved on it, and I didn't see a lot of buying them.
It's really shocking.
Yeah.
I think when you think about it, because here we have less than 2 months out from the 2023-24 Series 2 release. You have a Bedard 1-of-1 Young Guns that, to everybody's knowledge, I think is still in a pack somewhere. You have $1 million bounty that, as of 10 days or so ago, Dave and Adams had confirmed is still active.
Oh, they did? I didn't know they did that. I
Yeah.
didn't think they had. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they responded to somebody's tweet and said, "Yep." Even though they've stopped promoting it on their website, and I don't know if you can find anything on it. But getting back to the main point here, though, Troy.
Yeah.
I, like you, I saw 0 people buying Series 2 and Upper Deck, and they have a really nice booth set up.
Yep.
It's a double-decker booth. There's a huge, like, fenced-in almost area with tables and chairs that you always see people mainly ripping cases, right? So you
Yeah.
buy a case of flagship or another product, and you can go and sit down there with your buddy and rip it. I saw nobody opening it even. And honestly, it's kind of sad
Yeah.
to me. And to me, in a perfect world, with the buildup that we've had for Connor Bedard over the last 2+ years, and you have this release that everybody's been dying for, this huge kind of incentive to go after a lottery ticket in
Hmm.
his gold outburst 101s, and the prices are so high that nobody wants to touch it,
Hmm.
really. Because like I was telling a couple people this, like there should be, for instance, if like flagship was what typically 150 Canadian, 130 Canadian, something like that. Like that's kind of where I think most people feel like
Hmm.
that would be a comfortable price. Let's even say that 180 Canadian was a series two. I think that you wouldn't be able to see the carpet in the expo. There would be so many
Yeah.
packed wrappers on the floor, and you'd have people huddled around everybody, and somebody hits an exclusives or a high gloss. You'd have people cheering. It would have been a lot of fun. But at 400 Canadian,
Hmm.
a hobby box, it just sat. It's just sitting there. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's buying this joint.
Yeah. I don't know if we just didn't see it, but it didn't feel like it. It sure didn't feel like it from the
And
3 days we
and I
were
don't
there.
think that like it's getting broke a ton anymore because from what I know, and we're not breaking experts, we know so I think most people know that. But breaking is more to in my mind about the flavor of the moment, right? So
Yeah.
it's like they do the products in the 2 week windows. It's like whatever the new product is, we're gonna open up a bunch of boxes or cases and then move on to the next. We're like what 3, 4 products now after series two.
Hmm.
And I just don't feel like anyone is I don't see a lot of breakers breaking it. I don't know if you do.
Hmm. No, not from what I mean. I haven't watched a lot lately on breaking, but when I do go in, it's a lot of it was Black Diamond, obviously flavor of the month. That's the new thing, and then like cases of Black Diamond and stuff like that. And that's what that's is.
So I wonder that like going forward, if we're almost in sort of like a pricing game of chicken or supply and demand game of
Yeah.
chicken where you have the consumers who vote with their wallet, right?
Yep.
And I think it's pretty evident that the vote of the collectors is we don't want to buy these boxes for 400 bucks and open
Hmm.
them, and that's not enjoyable to us. And then you have the distributors and dealers and LCSs and whoever online retailers, right? Whoever is selling these boxes, you have that flip side where I don't they're not lowering their price. Because the other thing that I found really interesting about specifically series 2 pricing is when we were all walking around on Thursday, I know you and I had this conversation and some of the people that we were talking to as well. Our assumption was, and we are kind of looking at it from like a logical perspective that, okay, people are going to price it at like 400 or something on Thursday
Hmm.
night. And then if it doesn't start moving, we'll start to see the price cut. Well, we were just there on Saturday afternoon, and I hadn't seen the price move an inch on Series
So,
2. Have you?
so maybe maybe people are buying it. We don't see them. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I
you're
don't know what's
right.
going on.
But that's one of the things, though, that I think that we've definitely noticed at the expo before is that as the show progresses,
Yes.
the wax tends to get cheaper and cheaper.
Yes.
And I hadn't noticed that either. Another sort of like, I don't know, maybe if this is a tip or it's a pet peeve, is we saw huge variability in wax
There's
prices.
a
I
ton.
think more so than any other show. So you had
Yep.
mentioned one of the products that I was interested in ripping is I really enjoyed 2021-22 Upper Deck Ice. And one of
Yes.
the reasons I like that box is you got kind of like the three sort of big chases that we've talked about. You have the Ice Premieres that are part of the base set and the 2021 classes. It's got some good guys in it. Then you
Hmm.
have the exquisite RPAs that you can find in that set. And then finally, because of COVID, where they did not release ice in 2020, you have that bonus pack.
Yep.
So and for us Minnesota guys, that means that there's Kaprizov rookies in that box, right? So it's pretty interesting. Well, I couldn't believe the price variability on these boxes. We ended up buying, I think I bought 2 boxes, maybe 3, and ended up paying for mine about I think around 110 Canadian per box.
Yep.
The last box I bought, literally 2 tables down, maybe 15 feet, somebody had that same box for $195.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, it's like, well, what if my experience had been the opposite direction? What if I'm just, a show goer? I don't research, most people aren't like us, right? Don't sit and geek
They
out
don't run
over
around
wax.
the whole place trying to find the cheapest box.
This wax is 17% more than the industry average, right? That's what we do because we're dorks.
Yeah.
And what if I just like, oh, this looks like a cool product. I like 2021, and you drop 195 Canadian on your box, and you're carrying your bag. You're kind of feeling really good. You got that kind of rush of can't wait to open this later. You literally take 7 steps, and you look to your right, and you're like, what?
Oops.
This is $85 less?
Yeah, that's tough, but also I think I hate saying this. I don't want to sound elitist, but like that's kind of the gig at a card show, right? It's part of the game,
Maybe.
part of the fun. Maybe it's part of the fun to me. But again, like you're saying, if a guy just comes in with this kid walking around, oh, let's check that out. But I get it. It's just like any store, though. I mean, you call around all the different Best Buys or Targets or find the best price. But yeah, it's tough. Where I look at it as a game and a challenge. I get what you're saying about just the shock if you're not that in tune to everything. You might feel you got robbed, and it might make that other that dealer that you bought it for 195 from, you might think, oh, they're crooked. And it's just, there's a lot of stuff that can go on. But yeah, I hear your point.
Well, we could go like on for hours and talk about the state of wax, and we've tried to sprinkle that in a little bit each episode. But I guess my main takeaway on wax is that it was just different, and I don't know what it means, but it didn't follow kind of the same pattern.
Yeah.
That I think that we've seen in the last couple of shows, and which I guess makes sense because the whole sort of wax pricing continuum has been literally turned on its head with all these 2023, 24 products. Do you have any other kind of wax notes before we move on?
No, like I've already said, it was crazy finding the variability. In Marvel, it was almost silly. Like I would found one table that had like a new release, like Love and Thunder just came out, I think a couple weeks ago or something, or maybe a month ago, for $60 US. So I think it was 90 Canadian. So it's around 62 US. Then you go to another table, like couple down, 175 Canadian or 150. Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
It is. And I found one table that had platinum, the new release, or 22, 23 platinum, one table for 190. It was the only one I saw for under 200, but it was off in a corner and you had to dig for it. And to me, it's fun to do that stuff and look around and see the prices. See if they're a diamond dealer. That's always fun to see if they're a diamond dealer and you can get your redemption stuff. And like Parker's Champions found one table that had it for, I think, was it 125 Canadian, which is great price for us. It was $92 US, I think.
But that's another one. I saw it as high as 175.
Yep.
And then as low as 120. So, and that's a huge difference in between all of that. And it's just, I just don't know if that's the best customer experience. If you're Upper Deck, if you want that, because again, I would be mad if I literally, because you think, well, the price is the price and there's rationale behind the price. And okay, this must be a box that's valued at $180. And it's like, it's 40% less expensive, 10 steps down that whole thing is just weird.
Well, then we have this conversation all the time. It's like, let the free market work, stop trying to control us. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. Now, normally, well, maybe normally is a bad way to put it. In our first 3 shows, because of us being sort of in shock and awe, and we're kind of degenerates. We have a little bit of a proclivity for wax. We haven't ended up like looking at too many singles. I don't think either of us have really had the experience at this point where we could have had the time to take 2 hours and
Yep.
just walk through tables and look at singles. But I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong from your perspective, but I believe both of us were able to accomplish that at the
Yeah.
show. And to me, that's personally, like my own personal takeaways, that's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most.
It is one of the best feelings I've had at this show ever. Was just the last couple days hitting. I think I almost hit every dollar box I could, as long
Nice.
as they were halfway organized. I'm not a big fan when they're just
Mhm.
they don't have any organization. At least have by player, by year, or player by team. I can live with year set also, but when it's just a hodgepodge of random stuff, that's probably where you find the best stuff, maybe because they just throw it all in a box and don't care. But man, it was awesome. Spent so many hours. And again, I was looking for a lot of wild stuff, a lot of Minnesota North Stars or Gabrick, and our friend Louie was also kind of looking for the same thing. So it was nice to have him kind of paired up with me, and we could just go through a box, him taking some parts of it, me taking another part, and we see one like, is this something you want or do I want it? Rock paper scissor for a couple, and then call it good. But yeah, it was, man. I know you're gonna get to this. The box hunting was awesome. The card hunting was awesome, and just the amount of people we met. I know this is probably you're gonna get to it, but holy cow,
Yeah.
awesome, just fantastic. Heart is
We had a
full.
lot,
Heart is full.
heart is full, Troy.
Heart is full
We
of
had a lot of
things.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
Yes. We had a lot of time to walk around. And again, if you haven't followed us for the last couple years, or you haven't heard us talk about this, you've never been to the expo, maybe you're from the United States, maybe you're from the boondocks in Canada and you haven't made a trip to
Mhm.
Toronto, there's no comparison. There can't be
Yep.
anywhere in the world as to the variety, the in just every genre that you could possibly think of, whether you're into pre-war or you want the C-56, C-55 set, or to 51 parkies all the way, there's rows and rows and rows of vintage cards and just stack after stack, whether you're graded or raw, whatever your kind of jam is, you'll find it. And then into modern, to cases of McDavid RPAs or Matthews RPAs, or whether you like Young Guns, there's just anything and everything you could ever think of. There's so many Wayne Gretzky rookies that I
Mhm.
don't even know, hundreds or thousands, whatever the number is. And I just had an amazing time. Like I said, neither of us have really have had the opportunity to go through. And then, I think when we on next show, when I'm very excited to go through our personal pickups, that'll be reflected, is that we
Yeah.
had the time and we took the time to
Yep.
put in and find good stuff. Now, without giving away or talking about some of our deals, I think in general, my observation is a lot of people were buying. So
Mhm.
unlike Wax, where I felt like I was surprised that Series 2 wasn't flying off the shelves, tons of people were buying singles. And maybe, Troy, that's the byproduct. Maybe that's sort of the cause and effect nature of all this wax, 2023 wax being so high, that maybe people find the value today in singles. I don't know. But everyone we were talking to is coming up with that look, that kind of being the gleam in their eye and smile on their face, and showing us tons of really amazing cards that they were picking up. We talked to a lot of dealers, and I think dealers were pretty happy with the amount of transactions. That I'm curious to get your perspective too, Troy. But one of the things that I remember, and we'll talk about attendance in a second, but as busy as last fall was, I feel like, going off my memory here, that nobody had like complaints, but a lot of people were saying is that people are looking to trade. Like the wallet just wasn't coming out as
Mhm.
fast in fall, where people were spending money and were buying, really not just
Yeah.
like dollar box cards, although plenty of those I'm sure were being bought, but really, really nice cards. And so it seems like the dealers are pretty, that had probably fair prices, were pretty happy in that regard. What was your sense on just sort of the trend, what was transacting at the show?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I did not actually. I can't even remember seeing a lot of trades or even hearing people. And I was at a lot of boxes sitting there while these deals were being made. A lot of those people just coming up and say, "What's your best price?" and then going at it. I mean, I maybe heard one or two people looking at trades, but the rest was just straight up buying, trying and
Mhm.
packaging cards together to get a better deal. So I felt the same way as you. I feel like there was a lot of buying and a lot of money moving.
Yeah, totally. And I think that by and large, that I think, if you made a reasonable offer, you had a good chance
Hmm.
of getting it.
Yes.
I don't think I got rejected much, if at all. And I found that most dealers were pretty
Yep.
easy to work with and kind of reasonable about their prices. Now, the one thing that was, and so that's good news. And despite, I don't know, I'm sure they don't publish attendance. And you have to couch this with the fact that it is the spring expo and,
Yes.
the fall is kind of the marquee. But Thursday it felt like on Thursday night during the preview that it's like, man, should there be more people here or is this average? I couldn't really tell, but I just had the sense, I had my spidey senses were tingling, Troy. And then yesterday, for sure, on Friday, I'm like, this seems kind of light. Like, what's going on? Why is this happening? Why aren't more people here? But today it was pretty busy, right? And so I wasn't as concerned about it. But I don't know. Do you feel like that there was less people
Yeah.
there?
Here's my thoughts. Thursday, I've never been to before, so this was my first
Sure.
time, and I felt it was fantastic. Friday, I felt was great too. I still had a lot of space to move. Maybe not as many people, but part of that too is I think with that hallway connector, they made a little bit better. They did a decision where they
Yep.
opened another door, door three, where you could come in for the autograph people, so it didn't get bogged down. So that corridor was never bogged down. Like there's times last year where you couldn't even move. And then Saturday, like today I thought was very busy, but again, still enough to move. So probably not as many people as the fall, but I still feel there was pretty high traffic moving through it. Now, one thing that kind of is different about this time is they weren't competing with the cottage show in the same building, I believe.
Yes.
So we could actually park in the main lot. Like last year, if you got to the expo, I don't know, probably 11, the spring or fall, like 11 a.m. on a Saturday, you were parking way down in like an office building. So that could have been part of it too, to play a little factor. But the traffic today did seem like a lot, but less than fall, which I think what we normally expected. I'm not as sure how it compared to last spring. It felt maybe the same, just slightly below.
Mhm. But again, though, then you layer onto the fact that money was being spent. So I
Yeah.
don't think it is anything like indicative of the hobby is
Mhm.
in trouble or anything like that. But I don't know. I guess I do have to say, if you put like a gun to my head sort of thing, I was expecting more people. So yeah, maybe take that for
Okay.
for what it's worth. And just so you know, too, Troy, like, we don't talk about our schedule. I kind of want to, as we come up and we'll end with the people part of the show,
Yeah.
trying to kind of clear everything before that, because that is, to me, the most important part. Uh, Content wise, we had the opportunity on Thursday night with our good buddy Jeremy Lee,
Yep.
Coach Ko, and Carvin Chung, who, of course, if
Yep.
you haven't heard him on other shows or our show, worked at Upper Deck a number of years ago. It was the creator of Exquisite Collection and the Cup, and I think Immaculate Collection for Panini. So some decent sets, I guess.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Bedardapalooza. That was our
Yep.
content topic. That was a lot of fun. I remember now this being time 4 at the expo. The first time that we were up on a panel like that, I thought you were gonna have a heart attack and stroke
I
out.
was.
You
I
were
think I
so
did.
nervous. Now that you've kind of, this ain't your first rodeo anymore, Troy. How were you? Are you less nervous now? Are you more comfortable doing this sort of thing?
I'm still nervous, but once I will say this, Jeremy makes it really easy. And he
Oh
never
yeah.
started off with me. It starts off with everyone else, and then it would come to me. So that helps me a lot. But yeah, I'm still nervous. I still am not the greatest public speaker, but getting better.
No, you did amazing, and people should go to the expo YouTube and check it out. And I thought you gave some really insightful information on, what makes Bedard a good hockey player. And I really liked too how you took almost at it from the goalie perspective, because of course you're a
Yeah.
goalie coach, and I'm sure that that's part of the lens of how you think about the game, and like why being a goalie and facing him would be so terrifying. And just take like 30 seconds and kind of explain the answer, that because I thought that was really kind of cool information you gave.
Oh yeah. So I did both angles too. Actually, I said what makes him terrifying, and then why I think he's going to be out of the league in 3 years if he gets injured. But no, from the perspective, it's just his shot and how skillful he is, and how he can shoot the puck from anywhere, where he doesn't even look like he's ready to shoot a puck, or the puck's in a bad spot on his body. He's able to get the shot off. It's amazing what he can do in his shot. I've said it's not the hardest shot, but boy, how quick he can release it from anywhere. It takes that extra half second or something for a goalie to react. And by the time they react, sometimes the puck's in the net. And then the other thing was being his size, on why that's of big detriment to him right now. And part of it is upbringing, how youth hockey is now. Checking, it doesn't get introduced till a lot later. And a lot of guys his age don't know how to take a check. We've seen it happen with him. I don't think he takes checks very well, takes hits very well, and he's small. And a lot of contact, the first point is a guy's shoulder into basically his head. So that's going to be an issue going forward. Broken jaws, shoulders, maybe concussions. I hope not, but just it's something to watch for with him.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
if you didn't see, I was going to say the big hits, Matt Rempe, did you see him yesterday? Like immediately almost got ejected from the game, I think. Or
really?
like, yeah, it's just amazing. That guy, just a headshot.
Help me understand a little bit. So I do have one follow-up question on this. So when you say like a guy like Bedard hasn't learned how to take a hit, or doesn't know how to take a hit, do you mean he like flinches and tenses up,
I
or
don't
he
think he
just
expects it half the time, because
oh
and if you're expecting it, there's things like we have checking clinics. We are at USA Hockey, and I know Hockey Canada is the same way. Even though they can't check in squirts and peewees, we should be teaching body contact. We should be having checking clinics at peewees. Even though they can't do it, we need to start introducing it. But what happens, I think, is a lot of coaching. They're not doing it, and now they're getting to Bantams. In the U.S., Bantam hockey is where checking starts, and they haven't had any, like they haven't had that 3 to 4 years of checking how to
sure.
take a check, how to give a check. It's a two-way street. But yeah, and you can see sometimes even when players get rid of the puck, these younger guys, they just get rid of the puck and they don't expect a check. Well, this is the NHL. I know they're trying to limit the amount, the time after you get rid of the puck to get hit. Sometimes that doesn't work, and you got to
Yeah.
be ready. It's just the way the game
Fast
is.
game.
Yep.
You can't legislate all that out of the game. But no, I thought you did an
Yep.
awesome job, and that was really insightful information. And so we were very grateful that we were invited to be
Yeah.
a part of that panel. You're right. Jeremy Lee is like the pros pro of moderators. Makes it very, very easy.
Mhm.
And I thought that was great information. And then I had really, a big thrill
Yeah.
and a huge honor this morning to interview Al McInnes,
Yep.
Hall of Famer, Troy,
Yes.
hardest slap shot of all time,
With the
Stanley
wood
Cup
stick.
champion, numbers retired by St. Louis Blues,
Yep. There you go.
greatest 100 greatest players of all time, and just a sweetheart of a guy. And so what the expo will do is, and they're trying to, I think, do more and more of this, and it's an amazing thing, is as they bring guys like Al into for
Mhm.
autograph signings, they'll ask them to spend a few minutes and talk, do a little Q&A, talk to the crowd. The folks at the expo, Mikey Singer, invited me to lead that discussion, which again was a huge honor. A little note on that too. Another amazing part of this is that they've given us the audio and video, so we'll be able to
Yeah.
play that interview on Thursday's show as well. Looking forward to that. But yeah, it was our first time to really, get to talk to not just a hockey player, but literally one of the greatest hockey players ever.
Mhm.
So, and he was very, very nice.
Yep.
Really, really nice guy. And we did a little thing in the audience, had a kid ask a question. And what I was super impressed with was how much attention Al gave to this 10-year-old kid who's a fan.
Yep.
And so I can't wait for you guys to hear and see that on Thursday's show.
Yep.
Okay, so now, oh my gosh, Troy, literally, I think Louis is sleeping on, and I can hear him snoring.
I can't hear it, so that's good. I can't hear it
Hey,
through the mic.
that is very, very funny. I can't wait to tell him all about it, probably for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the wax. We've talked about the attendance. We've talked about the cards, the prices.
Yeah.
Content that we've done. We're going to definitely chat about our personal pickups on next show, and probably the spend some time talking about the biggest part of this hobby, and it's the people.
Mhm.
I almost don't even know where to start. It's well, maybe we were driving back from the show today, and I think the comment that both of us had to each other is we were amazed how many people had stopped us
Yeah.
and said, just wanted to shake our hands and say hello and mention that they listened to our show.
Yep.
It's humbling. I don't even
Yeah.
know. I mean, what do we say to that, Troy? I don't even know.
It's just so appreciative, and I hope that everyone that stopped us and we talked to them, I hope they enjoyed. I mean, I just want to say we really enjoyed them stopping us. Like, that's one thing I thought when we first started the show, no one would even care, no one would know who we are, but the amount of times we got stopped and talking to these people, and it was just awesome. And I hope more people do that at shows, because it was actually the best part was talking to people, listening about what they're going to collect, or they would tell some nugget they picked up from our show. That's the stuff that's huge. And I loved it. Love talking to people. And I know one of my goals was to do better at remembering names. I did a little bit better, but still there's people I met and I know I forgot their names. So I apologize to all of them. And we do have to call out our favorite dog that we met. Was it Franklin Monster?
Oh,
He
that is the craziest dog you've ever seen in my life.
is fantastic. American Bulldog. He had a 27-inch neck. He was fantastic.
It's like the
He's a
size
service
of a
dog.
dinosaur.
He's awesome. Yeah, he was awesome. He's a little service dog, and he was so good, so well behaved. Oh, it was great. His owner was
And an
awesome,
insane-
telling us about stories of listening to our show. It was just great.
Well, this sounds insane, but there's at this point too many people to mention.
Yeah.
Like, we met so many people, and like I totally agree with you. Enjoyed every conversation, and when I think back, like personal like lessons that I've learned through doing this show, and maybe how life teaches you lessons, and
Yeah.
no matter how old you are, you want to continue to grow and evolve as a
Mhm.
human being. The one thing that this show forced us to do, which I know neither of us would have ever done without it, is you have to kind of put yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're gonna talk and do a podcast and promote it and then go to a show, you gotta kind of like make eye contact with people and say hello and stuff like that. But doing so has changed the whole, for me at least, Troy, I can't speak for
Yeah.
you, the whole dynamic of the hobby.
Yeah.
Like I would have never had the same experience because the more I'm in this hobby, in a weird way, the less I care about the cards.
Yeah. Nope. Agree 100%. And also just, we have obviously we're supported by Patreon, and we get to meet Discord members, which is always awesome to put a name or to face to a name. And it was so great to meet a bunch of them too.
You think of people by like their icon.
Yeah.
Right? So like one of the guys we met, the sweetest guy ever, Bobby, who is a member of our Patreon, big Boston fan, and he has like his name's like 86 collectibles, and so like my whole like reference of him as a human being until this weekend was looking at this kind of logo of Bobby, and then it's like, oh, you meet the person, you get to know them, you get to hear their story, and so like I guess my point is, if I were give free advice, and it's probably not worth paying for, so free is what you're gonna get, is put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself to people. Ask people questions, and because this hobby is like brimming, it's overfilled with amazing people,
Hmm.
and it'll, like I said, change your entire experience, and all throughout the, like, from meeting people for the first time, like meeting Bobby 86 Collectibles, to a whole bunch of other listeners that we had never met before, and watchers that, well, now we have the whole YouTube thing, Troy. We have people that watch
Yeah.
our show too,
Yep.
and seeing the cards that they picked up, learning like their story a little bit, to seeing people like Jay, Top Shelf Cookie Sniper, who we've seen like 3 or 4 times now,
Yep.
and being able to catch up and connect with them. And then, to the point where we have guys that we've been chatting with almost every day now for years. And,
Hmm.
we're staying at the chateau here. And it's like, we're old men trying to live in a dorm, a frat house, hockey card frat house for a couple nights, and have had just the most amazing experience. I
Hmm.
think these last couple days are the most fun I've literally had in the longest
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. And like you said, it's like we met so many people. It's hard to remember everyone. And that's our fault. I apologize. I tried to write down every name, but I didn't. And I want, because I want to like call out each person individually. So if we didn't, I apologize. It was so awesome though. I just, for sure, I remember our dog, the fun dog. I love that dog. He
Yeah.
was so
I,
nice.
I do think, Troy, we need to mention one. Oh my God. We're getting hearts from everyone here watching at the house. So I love you guys.
Yo.
Uh, so I do want to mention one specific person that regrettably that we've tried very, very hard to meet up with, and someone that we respect and admire a lot, and we're very much looking forward to meeting, is Bobby Burrell.
Yeah.
How many times did we miss Bobby Burrell in the last 2 days?
I don't know. It's
Crazy.
probably, I mean, I stopped by Jeremy's booth and Jeremy's like, "Hey, Bobby's looking for you." Okay. And of course, I'm an idiot. Why? Because I'm like, I have no clue what he looks like. And I was trying to find a picture in case who knows, we probably passed like ships in the night by each other during the show and I didn't even know who he is. And because
If
I've
you
never
guys,
seen a picture. I just read all his, I mean, I read his book every day, literally, for the show. And yeah, we need to have him on. We need to like apologize
100%.
profusely and say we're sorry. Because I mean, we almost, of course, then he was at Jerry's booth, and we're on the road, leaving, coming back to record.
Yeah.
It was just like, ah,
In case you don't know, Bobby Burrell has
yeah.
written the book Vintage Hockey Card Collector. I think it's been published in multiple editions. It was given to us as a gift. I don't think it's currently in publication.
No, I think it's out of
Where you
print right
can,
now.
there's out of print right now. That's the term for it. Yeah, but like you said, there's really not a show that goes by where,
Yep.
when especially researching a vintage topic, where we're not referencing that
Mm-mm.
book. And you're right. When we were driving home and had realized for about the 17th time that we missed each other,
Mhm.
that's like one of the big takeaways is we have to have Bobby on the show. So Bobby, if you're listening, hope you are. Sorry we didn't connect, and we'll be reaching out to
Yep.
contact you soon. And then I would say too, like beyond that, Troy, spending more time with our good buddy, the Oracle, Jeremy Lee.
Yeah.
Jeremy actually stopped by the Chateau Gong Show
Yep.
and hung out with us a little bit. That was amazing. We got to connect with the folks at Upper Deck
Yep.
and chat with them and get some more insight from them that hopefully will help us kind of help you guys understand a little bit better, like what's going on within
Mhm.
the hobby, with kind of their approaches to producing cards. And so we're super grateful for them for taking the time to do that. And then Troy, just being able to connect with other people that have contributed content to our show, right? The Mitch Grotmans of the
Yes.
world, Sports Card Cartel, Eton, meeting up with Coach Co, Hit 'em High, Josh. Who else? Just tons of people.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
so
even
terrified
like,
that
yeah, talking to Breezy and Money Moose from Whatnot. We watch Spring
yeah.
Break. We talk about them. We've had them on the show, and we met up with them again. So,
Oh, and that made me to think too of, um, we didn't mention Jeremy Lee's like Thursday night networking event that we
yeah.
went to. Another amazing time. You had Upper Deck chipping in for appetizers. So there's the added food element. and just all the things that are done. Slab Sharks had a trade night
Yep.
on last night on Friday night where they had their app
Yep.
released party as well, and they showed us their app. Holy smokes, did they do an
Yeah.
amazing job on that? If you like Slab Sharks before, this app is going to be you're not going to believe it. It's not like some like garbagey sort of like.
Yeah.
They spent time and they spent money, you can tell, and this thing is it's so intuitive,
Yep.
and the amount of information, like, it has information that people have never, like unpaid reports and preview auction previews for eBay. It's just crazy. They did
Yep.
such a bang up job on it. And so just amazing, the whole experience, and I can't wait to keep coming back, Troy. It's something that I very very much look forward to. Given we didn't have a last show, I'm going to be excited to do, kind of get back in our groove too,
Yep.
and the playoffs are going on. That's the other thing too, not just where we've had the experience of opening packs tonight, but having the playoff games, in the background and being able to watch those has been really amazing. And then the last thing that I'll say before I kind of let you close with any of your final
Mm-hmm.
thoughts is special thanks to Louis from our hometown in Farmington, who has helped us and supported us and just been an awesome friend over the last year plus, especially. He drove down with me, and we had some adventures on the way, and it was Louis's first experience at the Sport Card Expo, which is at this point is a real treat for me. It's like I want to see, like, you like stare at their face, right? Because you want to see, like, it's like the kid on Christmas morning where there's like amazement and wonderment in their eyes. And so it's such a thrill to be able to, bring someone to the show, because again, we've talked about this a million times. We're from Minnesota, the state of hockey, but not the state of hockey cards.
Yep. Agree.
And there's nothing that compares to this experience. So yeah, it's been fun to hang out with Louis and kind of get the first timer perspective. What do you
Agree.
got for wrap it up kind of stuff?
So my wrap up, it was awesome. Best expo I've been to, if just personally, from the amount of stuff I got, from the stuff I learned, from the stuff I was able to talk to people about, and awesome perspective. Meeting everyone was so awesome. The amount of people we met. And I also want to thank everyone at the Chateau for being awesome, I guess, housemates. Are we all housemates now? So Phil, Neil, Sylvain,
Yeah.
Phil's son. Who am I missing? Oh, California Dave, California Chandler. Yeah, I think I got him. Louis. So
Louis.
everyone, yeah, and then you and me. So it was.
Neil.
I think you, Josh. Yeah, but it's been an awesome experience. One of the best, probably the best experience I've had in the hobby was the last 3 days.
Can't wait to come back.
Yep.
I hope everybody that loves this hobby like we do gets the experience to come here.
Yep.
And I promise you'll never regret it. It's an amazing time. Huge thank you to Mikey Singer and the crew at MChem. They put on a fantastic show. The new layout was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They just, everything flowed so nice. And they're very accommodating to us, and so we're very very grateful and appreciative for that. So yeah, wrap up show 4, Troy, in the books. Now make it home. I don't think we're gonna have a problem posting this one.
Not. Don't jinx it.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
it won't happen. But hey, if you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, you want to make new friends with everyone in the Discord, please join our out of $199 support level tier via Patreon. Support our show. It's as little as $5 a month. You can go to the hockeycardsgongshow.com website and click on the Become a Patron link. There's a link in the show description for whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, or if you're watching us on YouTube. If you want, just go to Patreon's website, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. Or there's a link in our Instagram and TikTok profiles as well. We are on social media. Search for us on Apple. No, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever.
We're on a bunch of stuff.
We're
Your
on a bunch of
favorite social media app.
Yeah, I'm so tired, Troy. Like my brain. But Troy, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. If you're traveling home from the expo, have safe travels. Have a great start to your week. We cannot wait to be back on Thursday.